With the release of the Season of the Worm Cult Part 1 expansion on June 2nd for PC and June 18th for consoles comes a brand new system called Subclassing. This is going to shake up ESO a lot, but you're going to have to level it, and it's going to be slow, requiring a lot of time and energy to do it. And I'm going to teach you how to do it the fastest possible. That way you can make a ton of cool, awesome build combinations without wasting tons of time. So what to expect in this video. We're going to go over what is subclassing, how do you get it, how do you get started, XP tips, build tips, gear, locations for grind, whether you're solo or a group player, and how to make most out of your time in the Elder Scrolls Online. Okay, so ESO, subclassing system, what this is going to allow you to do is kind of like multi-class or multi-spec. You're going to be able to choose and level skill lines from classes other than what you originally selected during character creator. So the mechanics can open up a lot of possibilities for new abilities, skill combination that have never been thought of before. The major limitation to the system is that you can only choose skill lines from classes that your account has access to. So base game classes include Nightblade, Templar, Dragon Knight, and Sorcerer. Then the other classes you can either purchase the DLC or purchase the class line separately in the Crown Sword, like the Warden, Necromancer, and the Arcanist. You can also get access to all the DLCs with ESO Plus subscription. However, if you don't have other classes and you're a solo player and have never played any other alts, you will be able to get the other classes via a quest. So in summary, it's best to have all the classes unlocked, maxed out to level 50, so you can access their individual class skill line. If you don't, there will be a workaround for at least the base game ones. Another thing is you're going to have to retain at least one skill line from your original class. This means that with 3 class lines, one must stay on the original class line, while the other 2 can be from subclasses or other classes. Furthermore, you cannot choose 2 skill lines from the same subclass, meaning if I'm playing a Templar as my base class, I can't pick Ardent Flame and Earth and Heart from the Dragon Knight to gain those 2 new skills. I can pick one from the Dragon Knight and one from another class like the Necromancer, but you see what I'm saying. You have to retain one, so your base class really determines if you want 1 or 2 specific skill lines relative to your class. How this actually works is like I want to play a Templar kind of mixed with a Dragon Knight, so I pick Templar as my base class because I want Adric's Spear and Dawn's Wrath, and then I want to do Ardent Flame to get the damage over time. So the base class you have to have at least one, and you can do one with another class and one with another class. So essentially you could have one original skill line and then 2 others from different classes. The catch here is that subclasses skill lines are going to level with experience points just like you normally would, and they're going to be account bound. So you're going to start off with basically 0 skills, level 1, and have to re-level them all just once. Also, the skill points required are double, so you're going to have to get a lot of skill points on the individual classes if you want to use all of these class skill lines. Next up is unlocking the subclass system. You have to have at least one character to level 50. Then once the character has hit level 50, you need to complete a quest called a Study in Discipline. You can start at a variety of different ways. The easiest way is just to pop up the Crown Store, click it, and then it will give you access to this quest, and you can hit show on map in your journal. It will be in one of 3 starter towns, Reaper's March, Bankurai, or the Rift. You go there, it's really just some dialogue, boom, and it unlocks. So the first time you do this, it will be free, but afterwards it will cost you 1,500 gold. Additionally, you can also use a respec scroll from the Crown Store to make a new subclass choice. So you're gonna have to go back to this vendor if you want to change this. Okay, that's how subclassing works. Let's get to XP and explaining how XP works so you can get these things maxed out, morphed, and ready to fight. If you want to hit max level with these skills, you're gonna need to do it as quickly as possible by stacking every XP bonus you can. So there are different modifiers that will all stack together. So for instance, you have training gear, 9% for each piece and 4 or 8 for each weapon of training gear, purple and or epic quality. So you can make training gear in the individual sets. You can also use a set called Heartland's Conquer, which doubles the effectiveness of your weapon trait, giving you a lot more training bang for your buck. So if you're going to grind, I would recommend making all of your gear training just for this individual leveling experience. 10% with an ESO Plus membership. You have 10% for being in a group with another player. This does not include companions. And you can have 1 XP modifier, potion, or scroll. So these scrolls will add either 50, 100, or 150. Also, make sure to take the champion point rationer passive because it extends this timer. And also the connoisseur passive in provisioning adds 20 minutes to the duration of any drink consumed. And also there are double XP, so 100% increased XP for various events in ESO like Witches Festival, New Life, and so on. You'll be required to drink a buff every 2 hours or so. But right now, if you're doing that launch, I don't think there's going to be one active, but you can easily get to about 200% double XP and fly through those skill lines. There's another option that requires a lot of jumps and hoops, and that's called the Ring of Mara, which gives you a 10% XP boost for marrying another player. You have to have this ring equipped. It's kind of annoying, and for 10%, it's probably not worth it. But just if you're squeezing every little last dime out of your XP, that's it. Okay, so you got your gear crafted, you know your XP modifiers, you got your scrolls rolling. So the first thing I'd recommend doing is a couple of dailies to get a huge boom of XP. So I'd run the random normal dungeons. So they got a group finder in your group and activities, go to dungeon and do a random on here. It will give you a ton of XP. And also battleground. You can do solo competitive or 4v4, but you can see it's a massive boon to your XP and it counts once on your character. So getting those unlocked, make sure you have your training gear equipped and you're good to go. Now let's move on to the grind spots. So there are different places to grind. Let me explain how grinding works. There's what's called instance base and open world. So instance base, the pros are you are the only one in here. So someone can't go screw up your grind and take all of your mobs. The goal is to just run content repeatedly. It's super boring, but it's super effective. So if you just want to spend 1 or 2 hours and fully min-max out your kit and get it done, this is the best way to do it. Overland or open world is good because it's available to basically anyone. You just have to go there, but players can interrupt your grind. So it's kind of annoying. My favorite one is Skyreach Catacombs. So this is instance based in Cragorn. So it's very helpful. It's base game. You just travel there and it's not mathematically the best, but it's very easy. Another thing is it's fighters guild. So you're going to be killing zombies and undead enemies. So if you haven't leveled that up yet, it's very helpful while you're leveling. And there are some decent gear drops inside of here. So what you do is basically run into a couple of spots, grabbing all of the mobs with like either a bow or a fire staff, planting them, dropping ults, and nuking. You can use something like Silver Leash or another pole to basically get the mobs towards you in one area and clump and dump. Shooting star meteor is very helpful because you'll nuke them, and if you have a fighter's guild ability on your bar when they die, you're going to get back some ultimate via Banish the Wicked. So if you slot a fighter's guild ability, typically I put this on my front bar, Flawless Dawnbreaker, and then on my back bar I can drop a shooting star, which is going to give me ultimate for hitting every enemy. So I drop it, bar swap, boom, hits, nukes them, and I have another ultimate up ready to go. Just blows through these enemies. So there is one trick is make sure you sneak past the chest and one person opens it and one person grabs all the enemies. This is best done duo, and the reason why it's instance based. So to reset it, you have to go back in your group tab and go to your group and turn it from normal to veteran and back to normal. Once you're outside of the instance, it resets all the mobs, you can go back in. If you're solo, see if you can just group with someone from your guild and reset it just manually and go in there. It's fine solo, it just goes a lot slower. Next up is Black Rose Prison. This is a bit sweatier, a group only. It's a Murkmire DLC or ESO Plus. It is mathematically the best from what I'm aware of, but it's a bit harder and you have to have another person with you. Ideally, you only want to have 2 people grinding. If you have a third or more, it lowers the XP per hour, so don't do that. And you'll set this on normal. You're going to port in and basically clear mobs up until the very first boss spawns. Then you leave the instance, reset it, and you're good to go. And also, you're really going to need a pole like Silver Leash from the Fighters Guild or something else because there's going to be range mobs and it's going to be very hard to clump and dump. This is incredible for XP, but you need to be highly skilled, huge AoE, some good survivability, decent gear, and so on. So it's not going to be for everybody. Another one that's very popular and very good is Verant Morass. It's in green shade, Aldemary Dominion Zone. So it's going to have zombies. You can level Fighters Guild. It's going to be a circular pull and burn method. So you're going to grab a bunch of mobs, place them on the ground, drop AoEs, rinse and repeat, absolutely blasting them. The downside of this grind is it's very busy during some parts of the day. So it will be hard for you to get this by yourself without something screwing up your grind. Now, another thing to do if you don't like the mindless grind that people love doing is Alakir Desert Dolmens. So this is one of the easiest, doesn't have as much XP, but it requires 0 skill basically and thoughts. You just basically go into chat in the zone and say Dolmen and hit plus. Someone invites you. And then usually you just run around with the pack from someone bouncing from dolmen to dolmen to dolmen. All you have to do is kill one enemy to get credit, get the XP, move on to the next thing. The advantage of this dolmen farming is it gives you a decent XP, but it gives you a lot of materials in gold and you can sell jewelry. One item that comes from here people sleep on is this withered hand. When you are within 28 meters of an enemy in combat, they die, you get healed, and you get magic and occur every 3 seconds. This is kind of like a poor man's version of false gods, and you can get it doing the dolmen farming method. So it's actually really good to do if you're using a magic-based character, and this withered hand set I really like as an alternative to false gods, which requires trials. Okay, so that's where I would go grind. And here's a bunch of tips for you that will be relevant to every single class. Remember that XP is everywhere, and if you're trying to grind out these skills, it's just about XP. So optimizing your time, your pulls, and your damage, so you're just constantly killing stuff, is great. Also bring a bunch of repair kits with you so you can repair while in the field and just keep that grind going. Remember to stack your XP bonuses. You always want to keep an eye on your XP scroll, like Skyreach Ambrosia and so on, and be in a group. If you can just group with some rando that's out in the field with you or someone in the guild, it's better, just getting that extra 10%. You want to optimize your build specifically, so you're going to want gear and skills that focus on area damage, speed, and sustain. I'll touch a little bit more on the build optimization in a second. You're also going to want stamina for speed. So stamina, speed builds, dual wield, and medium armor offers excellent mobility in AoE. My favorite grinding overall, if I was going to use it, is an Orc Stamina Sorcerer for CP farming because it has the most speed, huge AoE damage, and just look cool and fun. You can also bring companions with you, so if you're doing grind even with a partner, you can summon your companion, level the skill lines, and sometimes they do help kill things or heal you a bit easier. Sometimes they will just get lost and do their own thing, but if you're struggling or you just want to level them up or have a little bit extra firepower, bring a companion. It will not lower your XP. It doesn't count towards your group number. And make sure again to stock up on consumables. So you're going to need food, usually resource sustaining food and or drinks, a lot of heal potions, and you can reuse a lot of those crown store daily login rewards like poisons or potions or random crap food that you never use. Just use it so you can keep that leveling experience going faster. Okay, for build specific tips, a couple things you're going to need to know. If you go into individual skills, let's go to World and Soul Magic. This one is essential. It does a damage over time called Consuming Trap. If the enemy dies, you feel a soul gem, but you get healed and restores stamina and magic. So what you do if you're struggling with resource sustain, you don't have all the really trendy gear sets, you just throw this on a weak mob, let it die, and boom, you get a flood of healing and resources. So it keeps you in the fight going. A couple of champion point things that will help you out here is Reaving Blows. When you deal direct damage, you heal for 7% of the damage done. This is helpful if you don't have a mythic like Pale Order and you want a bunch of healing. You have Occultal Overload. When you kill an enemy under a status effect, it explodes, dealing oblivion damage to all enemies in 4 meters. Perfect for grinding. Those two in the blue, 100%. Resource Sustain one. If you struggle with magic, you take Siphoning Spells over here in the red or Bloody Renewal over here. Now, a lot of the mobs are going to CC or snare you, so consider something that removes CC or snares. If you're using medium armor, you can take something like Shuffle, which removes and grants immunities to snares. You can also go to this annoying skill to get, which is a Skyreach Order Race Against Time. This will also do it, and it will keep you moving faster and faster. You can get Major Expedition in a ton of ways, but if you're a stamina build, the easiest way to do is max out bow and just dodge roll on your back bar to increase Major Expedition. But each class, I think except Templar, has a way to get Major Expedition built in their kit. And if you don't, you can come over here to Assault and Support and take charging maneuvers. It's going to grant Major and Minor Expedition, keeping you really, really fast. The downside is it costs an enormous amount of stamina, so try to find alternative to that. Another raid to get a little bit faster is the celerity passive here in champion points, so consider that if you want like ultimate speed. And something else if you're struggling with survivability, because some of these grinds are hard, is don't skip on this passive here called preparation. It's going to give 10% damage reduction to NPCs. So it helps your survivability out a lot. Let's talk about gear. First up is Heartland's Conqueror. Talked about this a little bit earlier, but it increases the effectiveness of your weapon traits by 100%. So what you want to do is use training on all of your gear. Use this at least on your weapons and your 5-piece, so that way you get a massive boost to your training stat. For grinding mobs, Plague Break is a PvP set. You can get it from traders or in individual PvP. I think this still works in PvE, but it basically stacks them with Plague. When they die, they go boom and explode. People used to use this set called Azura's Blight. I think this was nerfed recently, and there's going to be a new one that comes out in this expansion that basically replaces it. So that's another ultimate awesome explodey AoE set, and it's medium armor. So if you're running a magic build, you want this on your jewelry and weapons, or a couple pieces on your body so that you don't run out of resources. Another fun set for grinding is Rush of Agony. When you deal direct damage with basically a gap closer or blink or teleport, it pulls everything in. And so what you can do is just chuck something like caltrops and then charge at the enemies. It pulls everything in and just goes boom, easy to nuke tons of stuff. So the combo I would use was Stampede, Razor Caltrops, and Plague Break. Now we've talked about Withered Hand, but this is a good beginner set. If you struggle with resource sustain, highly recommend it. If you're very new to the game and you don't have a lot of survivability, Vampire's Kiss is a base game craftable set. Gives you a lot of healing over time. So as long as you're constantly killing stuff, you're going to get tons of healing over time. Willow's Path is a decent one for resource sustain if you don't have any alternatives. And Order's Wrath is just a great damage set. So hard to obtain sets will be like something like False God. So it's going to reduce your magic abilities. It's going to give you major expedition and magic when you kill stuff. Perfect for a magic-based build. And the alternative for the stam builds is something like Vicious Ophidian. So this will do the exact same thing for stamina build. So it solves your resource sustain issue, and it solves major expedition issue, making you incredibly fast and blazing through. So my thing that I like to do is put Critical Surge on a Stamina Sork, running an Orc with Vicious Ophidian, then maybe like Plague Break and something else, and I'm just blasting through everything, grinding, getting these skill points max so I can start enjoying subclassing. Well, gang, that's a video. Hope this helps you save some time. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you got something out of it, hit that thumbs up and leave me a comment. Thanks for watching.